What's up, everyone? Well, recently I picked up a few trees from a couple different people, and there is a commonality to all of them. So today I'm going to go through and just try to figure out what to do first on some of these trees. All right, well, this is a nice old European field elm, and if you're not familiar with the species, because it's not common here in the U.S., you can go look it up. There's some really great bonsai that have been made out of these guys in Europe, and actually, I'm going to go look, but I think I saw some really good ones when I was at the Bonsaify show in Saint-Louis, France, and so the issue with this is that it's just pot bound, but it being early September and this is a deciduous tree, I don't want to go in here and do a repot because it's not going to do the tree any good. But leaving the tree in this pot bound condition is also relatively dangerous in my mind. So what I'm going to do today with this one is take it out of this pot and literally just put it into a larger pot so that it has a little bit more space and leeway for the rest of the season. And then this coming January, February, when it's the dormant season here in San Francisco, I'll go ahead and actually do some root work on this and put it back into a bonsai pot. I'm not going to use this one again, but I'll, in the meantime, find an appropriate bonsai pot for it and have it ready at that point. Now, I should say, the fact that this is in a kind of dish-shaped pot, which makes it really easy to remove it from the pot, is part of the decision-making process here. If this were in a pot that has like kind of lips that come over where you have to cut off the side of the root ball to get it out, I wouldn't be able to do that. And so the only thing in that case that I would probably end up doing is just doing some top scraping, try to remove some of the dead roots that are on the top and increase the moisture penetration, or nestling the entire pot into a larger container with some soil in it or a flat like I do with little trees. But in this case, it should come out of this relatively easily now that I've cut the tie wires on the bottom. Let's just give it a little, or not. So whenever I take something out of a pot during mid-season, I always like to kind of just do a root examination, and I guess the same thing is true in winter. But these roots look nice and healthy, so at this point all I'm going to do basically is find a pot that this will fit into. So as you can see, it fits in here pretty easily. In fact, it's a little bit too big, but it's probably the best option that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and screen the pot, get it ready, and then I'll tie this in here. All right, I've got the pot prepped, and now I'm going to add some soil here. I am using regular bonsai soil, not my propagation mix, because this is an old tree and I want to keep it going slow and steady, not quite as slow as it's going right now, but it needs to be in a familiar environment. And I'm also going to try tipping this. So let's see if that's enough soil. All right, now that I've got this strapped into the container using 2 aluminum wires that are strung underneath that I put in before I put the soil in, I've got it stabilized, and all I need to do basically is add some more fresh soil on top so that the top of the root ball isn't so exposed. And then I'll do All right, so now all that's left is to give it a good watering and basically just sort of keep an eye on it. So I'm going to put a bunch of fertilizer on here and give it a little bit more love than it's been getting for the last couple of years, and see if I see it start to turn around. I mean, this late in the season, it's very likely that it could just drop all the leaves and wait until spring. But I'm going to take a look and see what happens over the course of the next 4 to 5 weeks. All right, next up is this Redwood. This was part of a collection from, I think, someone who really never attended any clubs or had any formal instruction. I actually don't really know their complete background. But in any case, this guy is sort of just, it looks like homegrown redwood, maybe from a cutting or something like that. It's got a lot of suckers down here, which obviously have been cut back before. So I'm going to take these suckers off just to kind of clear it up. And then all I'm going to do basically, because it's not super pot bound, I am going to take it out of this container, put a little bit of extra soil underneath it, and then give it a good dunk in a bucket of water to give it a good drink, because it's in a peat moss based soil, and so because it's been in here for probably a couple of years at least, the soil has gotten kind of dense, and so I'm not confident that the water is actually penetrating the root ball properly. So once I remove all of this growth from the base, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I can get water to the roots so that the tree can be maintained kind of in a not great condition, but in better condition than it is right now until repotting time. If I try to repot this right now, it's already kind of weak. The color doesn't look great. And so I don't think that it's a good idea to try to repot it right now. So all I'm going to do basically is just give it a little bit of fresh soil to work with and some extra water. All right, and last up for today is this Ficus. Now, I think this is a Bert Davy Nana, but I'm not 100% sure. So I have some other Bert Davy Nanas, and the leaves are actually much larger than this, so maybe they're not Nana, but in any case, this is a nice old plant, and it's got some really interesting characteristics. I'm going to pull it out of this container and see if I can get it into a slightly lower and wider container. And because this is a ficus, I'm actually going to do some root work to it right now. I don't think it will have any issue. We're actually having some very warm weather here in September in San Francisco, which is typically the warmest time of the year. So I'm not too concerned about it getting cold really quickly, because when you repot tropicals, you want to give them time to recover in warm weather. One of the reasons I don't like this kind of soil is that you can just kind of see that the root density tends to be relatively low. So I'm going to transition this into actually like a regular akadama based bonsai mix, and I think that I should start to see nice healthy growth from it. I'm not going to completely bare root it, but I am going to take out most of the soil. It actually has a really nice kind of interesting root display here that I might raise up a little bit in the pot. So the structure of this might not be completely ideal in terms of a bonsai, but I think it's got some really great age and character, so I'm going to start working on this, and I think I'll revisit it in a future video. So 2 trees basically just like freshening up the soil, and 1 tree doing like a full repotting because it's a tropical, and when it's warm outside, that's when I usually repot tropicals. Whenever I get new trees, I want to watch how they grow before I really start doing much work on them. But repotting isn't always the next step, and I'm going to pretty soon give you guys a couple of examples in a new video about when repotting a tree that you just got might not be a good idea. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.